Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Quack&Co, the channel where everything is 10 minutes or less all the time, every time. And this is my first impressions of Unsettled. I have 2 games under my belt. I'm set up to film a third in a minute. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'll be filming this one over here because so far I like this game enough to want to go ahead and film a solo playthrough and put it on the channel because I am really enjoying myself. This will be my first time diving into the planet Gracchus because I have no clue what's going on here. I've set up. I don't know how this planet works yet. I'll be reading this little petrified waste note thingy in a second that tells me how this game actually plays because I don't know, because that is the thing about Unsettled. Unsettled is a system, it's a framework, it's a planetary exploration system with a set of core rules that will apply across planet to planet, and then a set of planets. Each of these boxes represents a planet. There's 2 in the core box. You can buy these other ones separately. They're coming back to Kickstarter, I believe, February 22nd, 2022, with, well, a reprint and then more stuff, more planets, and as of right now, I'll be getting every single one of those because as of right now, I am loving this game. Now, that can change. This is called First Impressions for a reason because my opinion Game 1 to Game 2 has already shifted a bit. Not in any major way, but enough so that my hesitancy after Game 1 was potentially proven right after Game 2. What I mean by that is, as of right now, I played this game the first time and I absolutely loved it. And I walked in, to be very clear, I walked in being concerned that it wasn't a game for me, specifically because I watched the Dice Tower. I watched their 4 Squares review, and Tom Vassell from the Dice Tower did not love this game. The rest of them did, but Tom didn't. And more specifically, I don't care about one individual person or not. What I do care about is the reason he did not love this game is because of the idea, the sense, and hopefully I got his impressions right when I say this, but the impression I got from him is that he liked the idea of the game, but the game kind of pushed you into doing things to actually win, whereas he wanted to explore. And I resonate with that. The idea that a game will focus on the pure rules, the pure winning, the pure points over having fun is something that has historically made me not like games. And so despite backing Unsettled, despite having it arrive on my doorstep, despite a lot of positive coverage, I walked into my first game thinking that I would likely align with Tom. And I don't. Not at all, at least not so far. I really enjoyed this experience. My first game was absolutely amazing. My first game was an exploration as we dove into Winora, I believe, we dove into Winora. We took the first scenario. Every planet has 3 different sequences, different missions. So each planet has its own rule set, but then 3 different missions within it, and then each of those missions is also replayable. I would happily replay either of the 2 missions I've already done with no qualms about the fact that I've lost the sense of mystery. You will lose a little sense of mystery, but you will still have a good time doing so. And Winora was a blast. Winora gave me a resource optimization puzzle. This game, Unsettled, is from the same creators of Vindication, my number 8 game of all time as of 2021. And Vindication, I love the fact that there's a constant resource puzzle at play. A nearly infinite resource puzzle as every single card shifts up the experience. And Unsettled seems to be carrying the same thing forward, although with the sense of story that I never personally got from Vindication. The sense of exploration, the sense of adventure. Now, it is a cooperative game, which changes that puzzle as well. Some might prefer that, some might not. But overall, the idea of the game is survival on a planet, given a set of rules around that specific planet, given a set of objectives as one of the 3 missions in that planet, one of the 3 tasks you have for that planet, and then you have to try to figure out how to win as your resources crunch lower. These dice are not really called dice, they're called like action cubes, whatever they're called. They're going to be ticking down your actions as you go, and you have to be managing that optimization. You have to be getting more resources, you have to be upgrading, you have to be getting more abilities, you have to be finding a way to persevere past the depletion of your resources that every planet gives you, past the fact that every single planet is giving you a new challenge as far as what's going wrong around you. Are there things attacking you on the planet? Is the planet flooding? Are you trying to go from various heights or something? I know this planet has nothing to do with heights and ascension. I don't know past that because every planet is a new set of rules. But my first experience gave me that resource puzzle, and I felt like I got to explore. I felt like I got to do things. I felt like I got to have fun moments as we figured out how to use our various technology breakthroughs. As you get comprehension, you're going to get various abilities, and you utilize those abilities to try to figure out, well, we were about to die, but now that I can use this to push you here, and we can use Luna to drag you over here, and I can convert this to move something over there, there's a bunch of ways to figure out the resource puzzle of the game in order to ultimately survive. My first game was a potential 5 out of 5 for me. But I also don't give 5 out of 5s after one play, and so I wanted another play. I wanted to see how that experience held up. My second play was a step downwards. Don't be that scared. My second play was amazing, but my second play I did feel a drop more. My second play was diving into which one of these? Vendrell. Vendrell, the ocean planet, and I dove into the ocean planet, and I felt a little bit more rushed. The puzzle wasn't as challenging. Despite the planet difficulty being rated as higher, I found that either through luck or the way the cards laid out or something, the puzzle wasn't as challenging as the first time. The puzzle was still good, it was still enjoyable, but I didn't have as many clever moments. I didn't feel as much like we were about to die. I didn't have that constant sense of impending doom and death that I had the first time around, and that certainly eased off my experience. Did I enjoy myself? Absolutely yes, but one of the reasons I don't give a 5 out of 5 after a single play, I'll talk about my first impressions, I'll talk about where rating I think is going, but I won't officially rate a game after one play, is because every planet in this game is different. Every game in any system can be different. A high here does not equal to a low here. Now, Yendril was not a low by any means, but it was less of the puzzle and sense of tension that I had the first time around. This is going to be my third play right now. This is going to be my third play, and depending how this third play and the fourth play and the fifth play go is going to determine where my rating for Unsettled ends up. Because as of right now, I plan on diving in solo. I've played my first 2 games at 3 players. This will be my first solo game. I plan on diving in at 2 players as well. And I also want to re-explore another planet on a different task to see how different they feel. So I want to get a bit of a sense of the various planets. I don't need to dive into all of them, but I want to get a sense for different experiences. I want to get a sense for different player counts. I want to get a sense for how different any individual planet feels when I dive into the same task again, or when I dive into a different task on the same planet. And I want to see how all of those end up. I want to see where each scenario varies, where each puzzle is difficult, where each game potentially runs easy or hard, depending on either the structure of the game or just the random nature of things and how they play out. I love Unsettled, make no mistake. That's not the question at all. The question is, does this end up as a 4? Does it end up as a 4.5? Does it end up as a 5? That's the range we're talking about. It would take something drastically wrong for this to go lower than a 4. I still think it's going to be a 4.5 minimum at this. I'm loving it. It's the same game that Vindication gives me. It gives me cooperatively, which I don't mind. Cooperatively versus competitively, I don't mind. What I do mind, what I do want, is when I lose a game in a cooperative gameplay, I want to feel like I could have won. And when I win, I want to feel like I could have lost. And that is the difference between how much I enjoyed Winora versus Yendril. That sense of Winora felt like we almost died again and again and again. Yendril felt like things were hard, but we didn't have as much of a challenge. I want that sense of challenge. I want things to be harder. And before any of you eagle-eyed people comment, yes, I know that the scarab is face up right now. I don't actually plan on using it. It looks better for the camera. Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I'll find a way. I don't know. The scarab, for context, is one of the ways you mitigate difficulty in the game, and the game does give you ways to make a game more difficult. The question is, if I don't know what difficulty a planet's going to present before I dive into it, then it's hard for me to modulate difficulty around it, because so far, the difficulty levels that they present on the boxes here, that hasn't held up as true across the 2 planets I've played, although the random nature of things can adjust for that. So we'll see. We'll see. I have complaints, I have nitpicks, I have things I want to see done differently, I have specific aspects that I'd love to see changed as far as the things they do in their second Kickstarter to potentially, fix is the wrong word, but to make this game even more better. Like, I'll give you one example. Every planet has these buildings. Well, the game system has these buildings you're going to be building on every planet. And I don't love the fact that they're always the same. I wish the buildings you built were different in every planet box. That would give me even more of a reason to jump into every planet with more variability. It's not that the planet boxes are lacking in variability. Every planet box is a totally different experience. But because of how amazing that variability is, I walk into it not being excited about these buildings that my first play I was incredibly excited for. I want that sense of excitement to permeate every single aspect of this game. And I'm going to go on for too long here. Unsettled is amazing. I'll be diving into this gameplay solo very shortly. I will be reviewing this very shortly before the Kickstarter goes up. I am having an absolute blast with the system. We'll see where it takes us. This is my first impressions from Unsettled. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Quack&Co. It's not a thing unless you search for it.